Um, okay, so picture this. It's a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
You are standing at a jewelry counter.
Oh, boy.
Right. And the lighting is it is engineered to be aggressive. It's literally designed to make everything in that case look spectacular.
Absolutely blinding.
Yeah. And you're looking at a stone that costs as much as a Honda Civic. It's arguably one of those significant purchases of your life, emotionally, financially,
Yeah.
and honestly.
You have absolutely no idea what you're looking at.
You have zero idea. None.
It is the universal anxiety of the diamond purchase. You know, you are staring at this tiny, sparkly object, and the internal monologue is just spiraling.
Like, is it real?
Exactly. Is it actually worth $5,000 or is it worth $500? How do I know it hasn't been treated or filled with glass?
It's like trying to buy a used car, but
Yeah.
you aren't allowed to test drive it. You can't look under the hood, and you don't even know what horsepower actually means. You're just kind of kicking the tires and hoping for the best.
That is a frighteningly accurate analogy. And honestly, that feeling of helplessness is exactly why today's deep dive is just non-negotiable if you ever plan on buying jewelry.
Yeah, we are tearing apart the official guide from the Gemological Institute of America, the GIA.
A definitive source.
But before we even get into the rocks themselves, we have to establish who these people are. Because in the world of gems, the GIA isn't just a player. They are basically the Supreme Court, the referee, and the rule book all rolled into one.
They really are. I mean, the GIA was established way back in 1931 as a nonprofit institute.
1931.
Yeah, and their whole mission is gemological research and learning. But the reason they are the ultimate authority today is that they literally invented the language we use to talk about diamonds.
See, that part blew my mind. I just assumed that terms like color and clarity were ancient history. But before 1931, it was the Wild West out there.
Oh, it was total chaos, complete subjectivity. You had jewelers using terms that sounded really romantic but actually meant absolutely nothing.
Right, like what were they saying?
They'd call it Diamond River Water White, or Jaeger, or Cape.
River water white.
Yeah, and one jeweler's AAA quality was another jeweler's mediocre.
So you just couldn't compare anything. You were completely at their mercy.
You couldn't. It was impossible to determine fair value because there was no standard baseline. So the GIA created the International Diamond Grading System and those famous 4 Cs specifically to stop that confusion. They turned quality from just a guy's opinion into a measurable scientific fact.
So our mission today in this deep dive is to hand that universal language over to you. We're going to walk through the exact process a diamond goes through when it enters the GIA lab.
Right.
And I have to say, the thing that struck me immediately isn't even about the diamond itself. It's about the suitcase.
Ah, the logistics of it all.
Yeah. The source mentions that every diamond travels to the lab in a nondescript case. It sounds like something straight out of a spy movie. You know, like, the package is secure. Do not open until you reach the safe house.
It does add a nice layer of intrigue. But there is a very practical, very scientific reason for that nondescript case. It isn't just about theft prevention. It's about bias prevention.
Right, because if a grader sees a box that says Tiffany and Company versus a box from, Bob's Discount Pawn, they might grade it differently.
Precisely. To ensure the grading is completely objective, the entire process is double blind. The graders cannot know who the diamond belongs to.
Wow.
Whether that diamond belongs to royalty or just a regular person proposing to their partner, it gets treated exactly the same because the grader has zero context. It is just a stone in a generic box with a barcode.
I love that. It's blind justice for jewelry.
Mm.
So diamond is in the lab. It's anonymous. You'd think they'd immediately start looking at how sparkly it is, right?
You would think, but no. There is a crucial gatekeeper step before any quality grading happens. We have to address a very modern problem that did not exist back in 1931. Lab-grown diamonds.
The is it real test.
Well, see, lab-grown diamonds are real diamonds, chemically speaking, but they are synthetic. They are grown in a factory, not mined from the earth. So the very first thing the lab does is screen every single stone.
But how do they actually if they're chemically identical, doesn't it look exactly the same?
To the naked eye, yes, entirely. But at a molecular level, the growth patterns are different. Natural diamonds grow over billions of years deep in the earth. Lab diamonds grow in a matter of weeks.
That's a huge difference.
Right, and the screening instruments can spot that distinct growth signature immediately.
And if it is lab-grown, what happens?
It gets pulled straight from the queue. It goes into a completely separate grading procedure because the value proposition is just totally different. The 4 Cs process we are discussing today is specifically engineered for natural diamonds.
Okay, so our diamond is past the first gate. It's natural. Now we enter the matrix, the 4 Cs. Let's start with the first C color, Now, this is so counterintuitive to me because usually when I think of color, I think of saturation. I want a bright blue shirt, I want a cherry red car, but here we want nothing.
With white diamonds, yes. You are looking for the absolute absence of color. The less color a diamond has, the higher the grade.
So the perfect diamond is invisible.
Think of it more like a drop of pure spring water. If it is chemically pure and structurally perfect, it has no hue whatsoever. That is the very top of the scale, which is D.
Wait, what? D? Why not A? Did they fail the first 3 times they tried to name it?
No, it goes back to that chaos we talked about earlier. Before the GIA, people used A, AAA, A1. It was a complete mess.
Oh, right.
The GIA wanted a totally fresh start, so they arbitrarily started the new scale at D for diamond. That way, there would be zero confusion with the old sloppy grading systems.
That is genuinely hilarious. Okay, so D is colorless.
Yeah.
And then it goes all the way down the alphabet to Z.
Correct. As you move down the alphabet toward Z, you start to see an increasing presence of light yellow or brown tones in the stone.
Okay, but here's where I get stuck on the actual science of it. Why is it yellow in the first place? Is the diamond dirty?
It's just chemistry. A diamond is pure carbon. But sometimes, during that billion-year formation process deep in the Earth, nitrogen atoms sneak in.
Sneaky nitrogen.
Exactly. They replace some of the carbon atoms in the crystal lattice. And nitrogen absorbs blue light, which naturally makes the diamond reflect yellow light back to your eye.
So a quote-unquote bad color grade is really just nitrogen pollution.
Essentially, yes.
Now, how do they actually judge this? The source says they use a master set, but isn't that still kind of subjective? I mean, you're relying on a human eye to match one rock to another rock. Why not just use a machine at this point?
That is a fantastic question, and it's actually a point of contention sometimes. Machines are used to screen, certainly, but the final color grade is done by human comparison because, ultimately, we are grading for human consumption. We need to know what the human eye actually sees.
So how does this master set work then?
The lab has a set of physical, real diamonds that are the standard bearers. One stone is definitely an E, one is definitely an F, and so on. The gemologist takes your diamond and slides it back and forth between the master stones under strictly controlled, daylight equivalent lighting until they find the exact match.
It's literally like matching paint swatches at Home Depot.
It's a very similar concept, just with much higher stakes. And because it does rely on human perception, multiple graders will often look at the exact same stone to ensure they all agree on the grade.
Okay, let's move on to the second C, clarity. I feel like this is the one people stress out about the most, right? Because nobody wants to buy a flawed diamond.
Clarity is the assessment of inclusions and blemishes. And you're right, the terminology alone scares people.
Inclusions are the internal things, right? Like the nitrogen we just talked about.
Well, nitrogen causes color. Inclusions are actual tiny crystals or structural imperfections trapped inside the diamond as it grew. Sometimes it's a tiny piece of garnet, sometimes it's a small fracture they call a feather, sometimes it's a whole cloud of microscopic pinpoints.
It's basically the diamond's birthmarks.
That is a really beautiful way to put it. And again, GIA has a specific scale for this with 11 distinct grades. At the very top, you have flawless.
Flawless, the holy grail.
It is incredibly rare. Flawless means there are no inclusions or blemishes visible even under 10 times magnification.
Okay, hold on. Under 10 times magnification, that's the actual standard.
Yes, that's what the standard jeweler's loupe does.
So wait. If I have a diamond that has a tiny speck in it, but I can't see it with my naked eye, and I can only see it if I literally hold a microscope to it,
right.
Why do I care? Why would I pay double for a flawless stone?
You have just hit on the biggest trade-off in all of diamond buying. We call it being eye clean.
Eye clean.
Right. A diamond can be graded VS1 or VS2, which stands for very slightly included, and it will look completely identical to a flawless diamond to your naked eye.
So you're basically paying for the psychological knowledge that it's perfect, not the actual visual reality of the stone.
Exactly. You are paying a premium for rarity, not necessarily for beauty. Now, if you go all the way down to the bottom of the scale to an I3, those inclusions are obvious. They can make the stone look cloudy or even affect its physical durability. But in that middle range, it's often a really smart value play.
The source mentioned something really cool here about plotting. It sounded like actual forensic police work.
It is forensic. Because those inclusions are completely unique to every stone, the graders actually map them out. They draw a diagram of the diamond and mark exactly where every single feather and crystal is located.
So it's a fingerprint.
It's a foolproof fingerprint. If your diamond is ever stolen and recovered, or if you leave it for a repair and you're worried the jeweler swapped the stone on you, you can just check the plot. If the inclusions match the map, it's definitively your diamond.
Man, that is super reassuring. Okay, let's hit the third C. And I'm going to be completely honest here. I thought cut just meant shape.
Right.
Like, I want a round cut or I want a princess cut.
You and probably 90% of the population. But technically speaking, shape is just the outline. When a gemologist talks about cut, they are talking about physics. They are talking about exactly how the diamond handles light.
The sparkle.
The sparkle, the fire, the life of the stone. And this is arguably the most important C of all of them. You can have a completely flawless, perfectly colorless diamond, but if the cut is bad, it will look like a piece of glass. It will just be dead.
Okay, explain the physics here for us. What actually makes it alive?
It comes down to three things: reflection, refraction, and dispersion. When light hits a diamond, some of it reflects right off the top surface. That's just glare. But what you really want is for the light to enter the stone, bounce off the bottom facets, and shoot straight back up to your eye.
Like a complex mirror system.
A prism system, really. If the diamond is cut too deep, the light escapes out the bottom. If it's cut too shallow, the light leaks out the sides. You want it to reflect internally and come back as brilliance, which is white light, and fire, which is that rainbow flash caused by the dispersion of the light.
So how on earth do they measure that? You can't just look at it and write down sparkly on a clipboard. That's totally subjective again.
It used to be subjective, but the GIA revolutionized this, especially for round diamonds, by turning it into hard geometry. They use a high-tech, non-contact measuring device.
Is that like a laser scanner?
Basically, yes. The diamond is placed in this machine, and it is rotated a full 360 degrees. The optical scanner captures hundreds of distinct measurements. It measures the precise angle of every single facet, the girdle thickness, the cullet size, the overall symmetry.
It's getting a full MRI.
It's literally building a 3D wireframe model of the stone. Then, a computer program compares those exact proportions to a database of tens of thousands of diamonds to predict the light performance.
This brings up a question I've always had about this. If cut is so important for making it pretty, why would a jeweler ever cut a diamond poorly? Why not just cut every single one perfectly?
Economics. You just stumbled onto the dark side of the diamond industry.
Ooh, tell me more.
Cutting a diamond perfectly means grinding away a lot of the rough stone. You lose a ton of weight. And since diamonds are sold by weight...
Oh, if you cut it for beauty, you literally lose money.
Exactly. A cutter might purposefully leave a diamond thick or deep to keep it just over that 1.0 carat mark, even if it totally compromises the light return. They are sacrificing the beauty of the stone to hit a profitable weight target. That is why the cut grade is so vital. It tells you if they cheated the geometry.
That is the big aha moment for me right there. A really heavy diamond might just be a badly cut diamond.
Yeah, very often, yes.
Which brings us perfectly to the fourth C, carat weight.
The heavy hitter?
I learned something genuinely new today. I had no idea what a carat actually was. I thought it was just a made-up diamond unit. But it's metric.
It is entirely metric. 1 carat equals exactly 200 milligrams. Or, to put it another way, it's 1/5 of a gram.
That is incredibly light. A regular paper clip weighs about a gram, right? So 1 carat diamond, which is a really substantial rock on a ring, weighs 1/5 of a paper clip.
Correct. And because diamonds are so immensely valuable by weight, I mean, we are talking thousands of dollars for fractions of a gram, the precision required to weigh them is extreme.
The source described this, and I really want you to walk me through it because it sounded intense. The sealed chamber.
It sounds so dramatic, but it's absolutely necessary. They use these electronic microbalances.
And why the chamber? Is the diamond going to fly away?
No, but the reading on the scale might. These scales measure down to the 5th decimal place.
The 5th decimal place.
Yes, 0.000001. At that level of extreme sensitivity, the air current from a person simply walking past the desk, or even just the change in temperature from your breath, creates a draft that can fluctuate the scale.
So they literally seal it in a box to protect it from air.
From air currents, yes. To ensure that when they put on paper that a diamond is 1.000 carats, it isn't actually 0.99998.
Does that tiny invisible difference actually matter?
Financially, it's huge. There are these things called magic sizes in the diamond world. The price jump from a 0.99 carat diamond to a 1.00 carat diamond can be 20 or 30%, even though the visual difference to the human eye is completely non-existent.
That is wild. You are paying a massive premium for a number on a page, not the actual rock in your hand.
Welcome to the psychology of luxury goods.
So we've run the whole gauntlet. We've checked the nitrogen level for color, we've mapped the exact inclusions for clarity, we've 360 scanned the geometry for cut, and we've weighed the thing in a vacuum chamber. What happens next?
We generate the blueprint, the GIA grading report.
This is the actual piece of paper you get at the store.
It's far more than a piece of paper. It is the complete dossier of that specific stone. It lists the 4 C's, the physical plot of the inclusions we talked about, the fluorescence, the polish. It brings all of those isolated data points together into one permanent record.
And the source called it a unique blueprint. I really like that phrasing because it implies that if you lost the diamond, you could theoretically identify it again just from the paper alone.
You absolutely could. But GIA adds one more brilliant layer of security that directly links the paper to the physical stone, so you don't even have to guess.
The laser inscription.
Yes. For most diamonds graded at GIA, they microscopically inscribe the unique GIA report number right onto the girdle, which is the thin outer edge of the diamond.
So the serial number on the paper is literally tattooed on the rock.
Yes. You'd need a jeweler's loupe to actually see it. It's totally invisible to the naked eye, but it is there. It is the ultimate assurance. You can look at the paper, look at the inscription under magnification, and know 100% that this is the exact stone you paid for.
That really answers the whole "how do I know it's real" anxiety that we started this deep dive with.
It completely removes the guesswork, it keeps the jeweler honest, and it keeps the buyer totally informed.
So let's wrap this up. We've gone incredibly deep into the science and the lab procedures today. What is the big takeaway for someone listening right now who might be sweating at that jewelry counter soon?
The main takeaway is that you don't need to be a gemologist yourself. You just need to respect the process. The 4 C's aren't just marketing jargon designed to upsell you. They are a rigorous system of checks and balances.
And trade-offs.
And trade-offs, exactly. If you have a specific budget, maybe you sacrifice a little bit on clarity, you buy an eye-clean stone instead of a flawless one, so you can spend more of that budget on the cut, which is what actually makes it sparkle.
That is the pro tip right there. Always prioritize the cut.
Always. And the actionable advice is incredibly simple. Never buy a significant diamond without a grading report from a reputable lab like the GIA.
It's the difference between buying a house with a professional inspection and buying one just because it has good vibes.
Exactly. The report is your insurance policy.
You know, what I find really provocative about this whole deep dive is the absurdity of it all. We think of diamonds as these ultimate symbols of romance. Proposals, love, forever. It's pure, unadulterated emotion. But the value of that emotion relies on the coldest, most rigid science imaginable.
It is a fascinating duality, isn't it?
It really makes you wonder. If we need lasers, microscopes, and sealed vacuum chambers just to tell the difference between a perfect stone and a good one, how much of the value is actually in the rock itself and how much is just on that piece of paper?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question. We are quite literally measuring a promise to the 5th decimal place.
Measuring a promise to the 5th decimal place. I love that. Next time you see a diamond, look a little closer. You might just see the science staring back at you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.